Yeah, we're charging the mound, and it's presented by our friends over at Fox One. The Fox One app should be very popular. You're going to hear a lot about it because you should be looking into it to get all of your World Baseball Classic coverage. I'm talking about every single live game from March 4th to the 17th, which is the day of the title game. More information after we chat about the World Baseball Classic Team USA starting rotation and the continuing journey that we have in terms of learning what this is going to look like. So it sounds like AJ Nolan McLean would pitch in the title game if USA gets there. Now, we'll talk to Carlos Mendoza later about McLean, but he did experience vertigo symptoms, I think, from an ear infection. It sounds like he's going to be okay, but that's putting a lot on a guy who hasn't pitched a full season in the bigs, and there are some other big names there. So I want to dive right into what I think is a bit controversial if it becomes a problem. It looks like from the article I read from Ken Rosenthal, who also will be joining us later, Paul Skenes could have pitched a different game that would have enabled him to pitch in the title game. He just doesn't want to do a 7-day layoff, and that's fair. 4 works, 5 works, 6 works. He's trying to be as flexible as possible, but also prepare himself for the season. If Tarek Skubal, who only is giving 1 outing and about 55 pitches, pitched in a different game against Mexico, that would have enabled Skenes to pitch against Italy and then again on 6 days rest in the final. Why aren't they doing that? I didn't get the full explanation, but in Ken's article, AJ, Mark DeRosa just says they went the other route with Skubal pitching against Great Britain. I don't get it.
Well, first of all, there's a couple things to play. I don't know how their schedules line up for their opening days. So maybe that had something to do with it. Remember, you're fighting teams here also. You're not just the guys can't just pick their schedule. They have to line up for their season opener. I'm very happy Tarek Skubal is pitching against Great Britain because I'm calling that game. So I am like, yes, I get Tarek Skubal for 55 pitches. That could be 3-4 innings. So we could talk about how great Tarek Skubal is on and off the field. Why they didn't do that, I don't know. But listen, I love McLean going in there if they get to the finals and pitching. We watched this guy pitch big games for the Mets last year. The Mets aren't a small market. They were fighting for their playoff lives, and he went out there and pitched really well. And if I'm Carlos Mendoza, who we'll speak to later, I love this. It gets him more experience. It puts him on one of the biggest stages you could pitch on. And if you got to start the finals against, who is it, Venezuela, Dominican, Japan, whoever they could play in these finals, that's a pretty big deal, and it'll get his adrenaline flowing. It'll get him used to the big stage. He's going to have to do interviews and all that. So I think this is a great thing. Would you love to have Skenes or Skubal or Logan Webb? Absolutely. But you also got to think about the teams because Logan Webb's team starts a day earlier than everybody else for the regular season. So they had to adjust his schedule to where he lines up for opening day, right? Skenes and Skubal might be a day or two later. So you have to line everything up. So it also gets them ready for the regular season.
We're supremely focused on the final. There's no final if you don't get there. And when you're playing tournament baseball, when I played for Team USA, these are discussions that I was privy to be a part of because, like, hey, what do you think it takes? You're not leaving chopped liver for the finals. This isn't like a kids travel ball tournament where you're like, oh, if we can just, we're going to run out of pitching at the end. They still have Nolan McLean pitching in the finals. That is awesome. You have to fight, like AJ said, all the different scheduling and everything. But to me, you don't get to the finals if you don't throw Logan Webb, if you don't throw Paul Skenes in those games. If you save Paul Skenes for the finals and Nolan McLean doesn't do well in the semifinals, there's no finals. So to me, you throw the guys in the best scenario possible for each of their seasons, clearly, but then also the quarterfinal game is going to be just as tough as the final. The semifinal game is going to be just as tough as the final. So to me, you got to win those games, and if it works out with their schedules, I have no problem with this at all.
Okay. So we'd have Logan Webb pitching in the quarterfinals for USA, Skenes in the semis, and then Nolan McLean in the final. There's a chance Joe Ryan could be used in the final as well. It sounds like he's more of an emergency situation. They still have to see how the back recovery goes. What we do know is teams can add 4 pitchers after pool play and then 2 more pitchers after the quarterfinals. So the pitcher pool includes Joe Ryan for Team USA, Matt Strom, Tyler Rogers, and Will Vest. among the pitchers in the pool. There could be more. So those are some
Wait,
names
is
that
Tyler
could be added.
Rogers? Is
Trevor
Tyler
Rogers.
Rogers the righty or the lefty?
Everybody gets confused. Tyler Rogers is the rich one on the Blue Jays now.
The
His
sidearm
brother
guy.
was rich.
They're
Right,
both rich.
right. That's true. Yeah, they're pretty close in career earnings. Tyler Rogers is currently the high-paid man on the high-paid twin on the Blue Jays who signed this offseason. Yeah, your sidearm extraordinaire, who was a very hot number as a free agent, and that gives you a very different look out of your bullpen. AJ, Will Best would be nice to add to the bullpen, and so would Matt Strahm later on in this tournament.
I mean, if you go Yarborough throwing from over here and then Rogers throwing from over here, you go from here to here. That's a pretty big difference they have. And Strom's pitched in big games. Listen, Best pitched in huge games for the Tigers last year. Joe Ryan would be a great starter. I think once you get to the finals, then you bring in your 2 extra guys and you say, we're just going to use Johnny Holstaff and piece this together with whoever's left. So I think this is a great thing. I think it's a great tournament. And I just can't wait to get it started tonight on Fox 1 at 10 o'clock? Who's at Taipei in Australia? I might actually have to stay up to 10 o'clock to watch this.
AJ, would you rather have funk, like you're talking about all the funk of Tyler Rogers, Matt Strahm, Yarborough, or would you rather have what the Dominican threw out there last night? 100 from the left side, 100 from the right side.
Well, you always take stuff over funk, but at the same time, funk can just be just as effective because guys don't see it all the time. Why do you think Rogers was such a commodity? Why do you think Matt Strahm and Yarborough have stuck around for so long? Because they have different angles and different stuff and different things they're good at. So I love funk. I mean, you always take stuff over funk, but sometimes stuff gets hit and funk doesn't. So don't fake the funk on a nasty dunk, let's not mess with the funk.
5 slam jammer.
Hey, you want funk? The Team USA lineup was rolled out for their exhibition against the San Francisco Giants, and I felt bad for Adrian Hauser. To start the game, there was a lot of action against him, and it wasn't just him. I mean, they consistently were putting up runs over the course of that game, adding up to 15 total. It's an exhibition game, but the lineup looks pretty good. I think one thing is pretty legit and fair to say, AJ, there have been really good players for Team USA. Position player wise, it's gotten better as we go, but now we're really at a status where this should be their best lineup ever.
Yeah. This lineup, this whole team is really good. You see the importance, especially in the United States, of how this is growing every year, every time they do the WBC, because more and more stars want to jump on board. Last year, Mike Trout was the captain. This year, Aaron Judge is the captain. You get Skenes, you get Skubal, you get Logan Webb, 3 of the best pitchers on the planet. And then you get the lineup with Cal Raleigh and Harper and Schwarber and Judge and all these unbelievable superstars from their teams coming together trying to win this thing for USA. So it just shows you the importance and how much guys love this event and how much they want to win this event. But then also you get all the other countries, Dominican we talked about. Japan has won this thing 3 times. Korea is really good at this. Venezuela can be really good in this tournament. Italy is better, I think, than people think. The only thing we're missing, guys, is a Team Poland. Because can you imagine how good Team Poland would be if we could get all the Polacks together to challenge USA?
If we get you to come out of retirement, that would be lovely. But instead, you're
I get my son. I get my son to play. Not me. I get my son to play. Forget me.
UDH. Austin Catch and UDH.
Oh, no, thank you. No, thank you. I saw that stuff coming out of Dominican bullpen last night. That 100 doesn't look fun.
No thanks
so
on
good
that.
To not hit anymore.
Exactly.
Good.
Hey, you will be able to listen to AJ and Ken on some World Baseball Classic games. They're all on Fox and the Fox One app. So start your 7-day free trial today. Scan that QR code on the screen or go to fox1.com. It's not just baseball. It's really sports year-round, football, college football. With Fox One, you get it all live. So go get your 7-day free trial today if you haven't done so already. Offers are subject to change. Go to Fox One for complete terms and conditions. Fox One, streaming now.